Hi and welcome back to Get Fit Guy. This is Kevin Dunn. Now, a few weeks ago, I received an email asking me to talk about something called BPC 157. Now, this is what's called a peptide, and a lot of these have been pushed on algorithms and platforms such as Instagram, usually to more mature users who may be interested in their claimed benefits for recovery. This week, I'll talk a little bit about peptides, what they are, and why you may or may not want to consider using them. Now, I myself first heard of these peptides in 2018 when someone in Iceland wanted to sell me some MK677. They all have these wonderful names, but it's commonly called Ibutamoren. Now, as you may well imagine, if you're a long-time listener here, I do not view my own fitness as anything but being healthy and free of disease. It may well be the case that in some situations, such as the onset of illness, that external interventions like pharmaceuticals may be required. But I find the idea of using them to try and just gain something for myself to be a little unethical. Philosophically speaking, I look at many of the so-called biohackers and how it's leading us into transhumanism or into this kind of slippery slope, which is a type of fallacy, actually called the slippery slope fallacy. But I can't help wonder what end point we get to with this kind of starting point. If one is willing to buy black market pharmaceuticals to stave off some wrinkles or to respond to weight training as if you were 20 years younger, then where do we go? Transplants, neural chips, cybernetic eyes, robotic hips. To me, biohacking is the gateway to a post-human society. If anyone wants to email me to talk about the philosophy of transhumanism, please do so. But in the meantime, let's crack on. So if you've been hearing about peptides, chances are it's the more common ones, which would be Ibutamoren and BPC 157. These compounds grab attention for their potential benefits, but like anything in the world of supplementation and performance enhancing, they do come with their own set of pros and cons. So let's break it down in an easy to digest, I hope, way. So what are peptides? Well, peptides are short chains of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. Proteins themselves are made up of long chains of peptides called polypeptides. The peptides play crucial roles in many different biological processes. They're kind of like messengers that help cells to communicate and perform their functions. Because of this, they've become popular in many fields like bodybuilding, anti-aging, and biohacking. The first one I mentioned that I'd heard of myself, Ibutamoren, is a growth hormone booster. It's also known as MK677, and it stimulates growth hormone release. And unlike other growth hormone secretagogues, Ibutamoren is orally active, which means you can take it in pill form rather than having to give yourself an injection. This makes it super convenient and easy for everyone to take and has boosted its popularity amongst the general population. Benefits of taking MK677 would be increased muscle mass. It has the potential to increase your lean muscle mass by stimulating growth hormone production. It enhances muscle growth and improves strength and recovery. This makes it appealing to bodybuilders and athletes looking to get extra edge, as well as aging cohorts who are just resisting age-related loss of muscle mass called sarcopenia. Also improves bone density. Growth hormone has been linked to bone health. Increased growth hormone levels can help bone density, which is particularly beneficial as we age and our bones start to weaken. You may recall me talking about this previously. It's called osteopenia. Next up is it gives you better sleep quality. Many people taking these kind of things are reporting improved sleep quality because growth hormone is released during deep sleep. So therefore, boosting its levels can improve sleep patterns. And finally, enhanced recovery. So for those who engage in intense physical activity and exercise, faster recovery times are obviously a big plus. The faster you recover, the faster you can train again. And MK677 may help by speeding up the healing of muscles and tissues. Downsides of it, though, are firstly, a ton of water retention. So one of the most common side effects is just retaining water, which leads to you feeling bloated. And this can just lead to you looking a little bit puffy. Sometimes we say that people that are taking these type of things have a moon face. Next thing is increased appetite. This might be a pro for some of you, especially those who might be trying to bulk up. But increased appetite can obviously also lead to unwanted weight gain if you don't manage your appetite and caloric intake properly. Next is insulin resistance. There have been concerns in studies with MK677 causing insulin resistance over time. This could be very problematic for those with or that are at risk for diabetes. And finally, it affects hormone levels, so it might lead to imbalances in your natural hormone levels if you use it without being properly monitored by a medical professional. Now, there's also a gray area around the legality because MK677 is not approved by the FDA for use in humans, which means it's not legally available as a prescription medication in the United States. However, it is often sold as a research chemical, which is a loophole for those you looking to use it for their personal reasons. Also, many sports organizations and anti-doping agencies have banned it because it does have performance-enhancing effects. In fact, if I remember correctly, in 2019, a CrossFit Games athlete, I think she was from Canada, was found with supralogical doses of this stuff in her bloodstream. I mean, huge doses. And then claimed that her boyfriend was a bodybuilder and they'd been making out and it got in her mouth, and then she did a drug test and failed. I almost died laughing at that, and I'm almost about to start again. I mean, what a crazy story that was. But hey, you got to try, right? Okay, the next one up is BPC 157. BPC stands for Body Protection Compound, and this peptide is known for regenerative and healing properties. Unlike Ibutamoren or MK677, it's used for its potential to help with injuries and healing rather than directly affecting muscle growth. So the benefits, as I said there, you've got enhanced healing, its ability to accelerate the healing of injuries, including those to tendons, muscles, and ligaments. It's a bit like having a supercharger in place for your body's repair mechanisms. Next up is reduced inflammation. It has anti-inflammatory properties, so if you've got swelling and pain post-injury or post-training, that makes it fantastic for recovery from acute injuries or just chronic post-training inflammation and pain. The next thing is improved joint health. Users often report they have better joint health mobility, which can be incredibly useful for athletes or anyone dealing with joint pain. Finally, we've got gut health. So it can actually aid in gut health by promoting healing of the GI tract, which can be very useful for anyone that has digestive issues or, again, inflammation. But just like with MK677, there are some downsides. Firstly, very limited human research. There is animal studies on this and some anecdotal evidence in humans, which seems promising, but there's no extensive human trials, so that makes it really hard to understand the long-term effects on safety. The next thing is side effects. A lot of users complain of nausea and headaches. And then finally, again, ethical concerns. Use of these things raises ethical concerns, especially if you're in sports in a competitive environment where you may have an unfair advantage. And just saying, oh, well, everyone else takes it, that doesn't make it ethical. So similar to MK677, it's not approved by the FDA for human use. It's often sold as a research chemical, and like many of these performance-enhancing substances, it's banned by various sports organizations. The World Anti-Doping Agency includes peptides like BPC 157 in their list of prohibited substances. So anyone that's an athlete should definitely steer clear of it if they want to avoid trouble. But there you have it, a bit of a conversational dive into Ibutamoren and BPC 157. These peptides do offer some intriguing and perhaps compelling benefits, especially in terms of muscle growth, healing, and overall wellness. However, they do come with potential side effects and legal considerations that are worth pondering depending on where you live. The world of peptides, like all supplements, is rapidly evolving and complex, and while the allure of quick gains and accelerated healing is tempting, it's crucial to approach these substances with a good dose of caution. Always consult with a healthcare provider who won't help you at all, since these aren't actually approved for human use. And then stay informed about the legalities and regulations that might affect your usage. Hopefully this clarifies things a bit. If you have any more questions or need further details, feel free to ask me, but also feel free not to be influenced at all by what you see on social media, not to be influenced by quick results from chemicals that come from underground laboratories. Instead, focus on eating well, getting outdoors, monitoring your stress, lifting some weights, and doing some aerobic work. Job done. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, shoot me an email. getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com. And remember this blurb in case you haven't heard it enough. Get Fit Guy is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. Thanks to the team at Quick and Dirty Tips, Morgan Christensen, Holly Hutchins, Director of Podcast Brennan Getchus, and Davina Tomlin. I know those are just people's names, but I have to tell you, they're all very, very nice people. And me, Kevin Dunn. If you have a question for me, voicemail me, 510-353-3104, or send me an email. GetFitGuy, quickanddirtytips.com. Visit quickanddirtytips.com or check out the show notes in your podcast app. See you next week.